And fantastic. And now up here is YouTube and Facebook. So I'm on a couple of different channels. So if you see me looking up there, it's the other channels. If I'm looking down here, well, it's the other channel. That's just the way it goes. Hi, Glenn. How are you? So I'm just going to give it a second. You can help me by tapping on the screen and giving likes. You have a Christmas party. What should you take to it? I don't know. I mean, people tend to like trays. Trays of food are always good. And depending on the type of people that you're hanging around, if they're the type of people that indulge in alcohol, sometimes taking a wine for the house is not a bad idea. I don't know. That's not what I'm on here to talk about. I don't come on here and do lives to give people advice about what they should take to their parties. I'm sorry, I don't drink at all. At all. So I'm not a good person to ask. I don't really go to parties. But yeah. So what I talk about is true sidereal, which is a way of looking at the planets and zodiacs. It's a way of following the energy of the sky. And really, the way that I like to describe it is it's a way to live in harmony with the living sky. And we should be living in harmony with Mother Gaia. And we should be living in harmony with all of the other planets and stars and everything and each other. Which is the other part that I talk about, which is the Christic way. And the Christic way is all about, at least beginning, that we are all one, unity consciousness. So embodiment is the topic du jour. It's the phase that we should be in if we are listening to the sky, and it's where we should be in at any point in time, no matter what. If we want to create a new earth that has better practices or structures that actually support the natural way that we are meant to live in harmony with each other, in harmony with nature, in harmony with the sky, with the earth, with all of it. I love that I'm going to get that the AI picked it up. That what we're talking about was that little bit about your party and what food to take. That's funny. That's not what we're talking about, AI. We're talking about true sidereal, the Christic way, embodiment. Christic astrology would be another thing that we're talking about here. And it's just how to live in harmony and have that relationship with the living sky, which is why we use true sidereal as the format. Because tropical or mainstream astrology, which many people have utilized and we see everywhere, it's what we will get told when we're looking online, and we don't specify if we're looking up any information about what full moon is happening or what new moon is happening or any information, what season we're in because of the date or what your zodiac signs are based on. It's going to give you mainstream traditional astrology, and that astrology is based on the stars being frozen 2,000 years ago, and I just don't align with that. I want to know what was actually there. What was the true sky saying the day that I was born, or what is the true sky saying today? So that's why I use true sidereal. I use a Living Sky app, and it's actually called the Sky Live. You can go on it anytime, verify the information that I'm saying. And I also use Mastering the Zodiac to do true sidereal charts, natal charts. And I always suggest that anyone that wants to look at their true sidereal chart to go to Mastering the Zodiac and look it up. And then if you want a more in-depth reading, you can always connect with me and I can do that for you. So we're going to look into the alignments that are happening today and make note that we're 2 days out from, I'm not sure what that is. None of that makes, I have to, okay, I'm going to write this down. And you know what? If it's something later on, that I'll just laugh at it, okay? I'll just laugh at it. Sunu. I have to look at how you spell it. Okay. I'll look at it later on. Oops. I'm going to get a sip of tea because it's nice and hot and I like that. Okay. Hello. Say hi. Which channel are you watching from? You're welcome. That is really nice and hot, which is lovely. So we're going to talk about the placements today. We are on the 23rd of December, which, like I said, if you're following the sky, we entered solstice on the 21st. We have a 3-day pause where we are essentially the night and day stays the same length. There's no shortening or lengthening in either direction. And then on Christmas Eve, that's when the sun starts to lengthen. So the day starts to lengthen in the sky for those of us that are in the northern hemisphere anyway. So we are in one of those days where it doesn't change. And that's a day of stillness. It's a day where we should be more contemplative, reflective. This is that hinge, right? What are we shaping? What is the vision we want for the future? So I have a live that has several different layers to it. Part of the live is going to be focused around the sky. And the rest of it's going to be focused around the other stuff that I teach. And I'm going to try not to be distracted by the birds out my window. Oh, and for those of you who have a generous heart and want to give this season, I am also the co-owner of a nonprofit called Hugs for Homeless based in Edmonton, Alberta, and servicing Edmonton and surrounding area. This charity, it obviously serves the homeless. What hugs are backpacks that we fill with essential needs, and then we distribute them either with partners like missions and shelters or directly to individuals in community. We're always, of course, looking for donations because we operate year round. And of course, during the colder months like the winter time, and we are officially in the winter season, those donations are even more required, right? So if you have anything in you to give, and there's no minimums, there really isn't. Whatever you have to give, we receive it all and appreciate it, so that we can get backpacks built and out into the communities to those who are unhoused at this time. In Alberta, we have been seeing temperatures staying in the -20s consistently, with some temperatures dipping down. We've gotten as low as -50 with the wind chill. We've gotten as low as -30 with the bare temperature. So it has been quite cold here already, and we haven't even hit winter. We haven't even hit January or February. So anything that you have to give is greatly appreciated. Again, that's Hugs for Homeless, and that is hugsforhomeless.com. You can go and check out the website. And like I said, if you have anything to give, that's great. You can also connect with us through info@hugsforhomeless.com to inquire about volunteer opportunities and which ones we have available at this time, because we are looking for research people. Are you someone that likes to research grants? That could be something that could be very helpful for a nonprofit. So things like that. Anyway, connect with us at those things. Yeah. I don't know, Nate. Will there be? I'm not sure where they will be. Okay, so we're going to start talking about the celestial placements. Hi, Irene. How are you? How are you, love? Okay, so we're now 2 days past, like I said, that solstice gate. The sun has begun its sacred return, and the moon has now entered Capricorn, because when we had solstice, both the sun and the moon were in Sagittarius. So this is the sign of structure, right? We talked about Capricorn in a variety of different spaces, like how the sun, hi Carol, how are you, love? Like how the sun, when you have Capricorn as your sun sign or your rising, we did moon, Mercury. I don't know if we did Jupiter yet. That might have been the last one we did, or that's the one we're starting with. But I'll know when I look at it later on. So Capricorn's the sign of structure, stewardship, and divine responsibility. As I've said numerous times, Capricorn is the sign of it's the dad sign. It's the divine masculine energy. It's the dad energy. It's, you know, longevity. It's stewardship. It's production. It's protection. It's all of that. How are you doing, love? So Capricorn, and the new moon, we just had that on the 19th. So remember, we went through this really sacred time energetically with all these celestial alignments that were occurring, 222 when I'm saying that. So we had the new moon on the 19th, and then on the 21st, we had solstice. And, you know, so that's a bit of energies that are all happening right there together. So the new moon on the 19th, was asking, what do you truly want? Because it was Sagittarius new moon. And then solstice on the 21st was asking, are you ready to walk it? And now the Capricorn moon is asking, what will you do about it? Because now Capricorn's ready to ground the truth, right? It's taking rooted action. The new moon seeded the vision. The solstice was the truth that was forged in stillness, sitting there and listening and reflecting, right? We were supposed to, in that stillness, spend time asking ourselves the questions, right? And the one big question was, if you continue to walk the path that you're on, are you going to acquire the vision of the future that you want? But if every step that you're taking keeps you going in circles, then maybe it's time to change the direction that you're headed in. It's time to look at what is serving you and what isn't serving you anymore. What's aligned with the identity of the person that you're becoming to have what you acquire or what you believe is your passion or your purpose, right? Capricorn moon is action rooted in integrity, right? When we're talking about the healed masculine energy, which Capricorn represents, it is integrity. It's not power for the sake of power, right? A true leader looks at the flock and it's the weakest member dictates the quality of it, right? So if you've got members that are unhoused and you have members that are starving and you have members that are sick and members that are, and we can continue on and on and on and talk about how society is. If you have members like that, then your society is failing. You're not doing a good job. It's represented right there. It's clear. It's very, very clear. So that means that you need to be elevating the lowest in your society, right? Finding out ways how to, and this isn't about taking away free will. This is not, we know the distortions that are built in, right? If you're here and you're on my channel, you know, we talk about those. We talk about how the way that we're supposed to be lived is hijacked. Right? We're not living the way that we're meant to. So let's talk about the new moon, right? The new moon from the energy. So even though the new moon has moved on, we're still in that first week, right? So we haven't hit the first quarter yet. It's coming. It's not far off. I actually think it might be on Christmas Day, but I'll verify that. Actually, I'm going to verify it right now. You know me, I've got the Sky Live open all the time. Go to the moon, go to today's moon phase, and then tomorrow, and then the next day. Oh, wait, previous day. On the 26th. 27th. Sorry. It's on the 27th. I was like, not quite close. We're getting there. because it's the visible face, right? Hey, Braden, how are you? How are you doing? Lovely to see you. So we've still got the energy from that from that new moon, right? We're not, like I said, getting the first quarter until the 27th. Thank you, always. So the imprint of that energy still remains. The truth that surfaced from the new moon is still echoing through your field, but you're no longer in the dreaming phase of this. We're at the phase of grounding it, right? And we're going to have, I'm glad that Carol's here today. I'm glad that Carol's here today because you'll see. You'll see. So what did the new moon, this is a choice point, right? The new moon is the choice point. So what did that new moon reveal about your trajectory? And then what solstice truth rose up and said, you can no longer ignore this. And today, with your feet on the ground and the moon in Capricorn, what are you building to honor it, right? The truth only becomes real when we live it. It doesn't become real because we know it. It becomes real because we live it. So if you want to have a new world that supports the way that we are truly meant to live, we have to build it. If we wanted an internet that was free, someone would have to build that, right? If we wanted communities where necessities were free, right? Somebody would have to implement that type of a structure some way. But mostly, like if you're looking at a bartering system, you have to create those things, which is why at Anshara'El, I created sacred reciprocity. That way there, if you are somebody who does not have the financial means to, fully pay for something that I have on my site, we can maybe agree for something else. I usually have two things I like to say here. Number one is maybe you have a car and I don't, and you're like, so it could be something tangible, physical, it could be. But it could be just that maybe you're good at YouTube videos, or maybe there's something else that you can offer that would benefit me, and we can trade that, right? Like, you never know. Right? That's how you become, like, you determine who you are, and once you know who you are, then the routines and habits become easy, right? Right? They become really easy. We don't fake it till we make it here. Right? That's not the way that we do it. So the new moon was not just about vision, it was about alignment, because we weren't looking at the new moon in any other sign but Sagittarius. Sagittarius new moon is a completely different new moon because Sagittarius is concerned about a few things. 1, the truth. 2, direction. 3, a quest. So growth is huge for a Sagittarius. Sorry, I have that invite. But when you're at the new moon of Sagittarius, you want to make sure that you're pointing in the right direction, because when it fires back and it sends you in that direction, if you aren't headed in the right direction, that's great. It'll fire off. Sagittarius will send you all along in whatever direction you think is the true direction. That will also, if you're not clear, then you're going to not know where to direct yourself, then, right, you're not going to be getting anywhere. So it's important during that new moon that you got clear about the future that you wanted to see for yourself and what that identity was, because there's an identity that requires certain things. And there's also a potential that the identity that you think you have to have in order to have what you want has been distorted. And if you just have to create a new identity for that particular thing. So for example, children's books. I got to get this book at my house. But anyway, children's books. I write a whole bunch of them. I have like 19 books that are published now. The last book that I published under the Unlikely Heroine Chronicles is Tiana and the Phoenix Who Refused to Burn. So it's the story about a phoenix that loves the water. He doesn't like fire, not at all, but loves the water. So feels like shouldn't be a phoenix at all. Like what's a phoenix that's not on fire? But what they learn through the journey in the book is that it's okay to create a new identity for that. Maybe there's a different way to be reborn. Maybe you can be reborn through water. And so he becomes a water phoenix. And that's what we're doing, right? You're clearing up the identity of what it is, right? If you think that in order to have $1 million company, you have to hustle and grind, you have to have like all your ducks in a row, you have to have a massive team, you have to be working from morning until night, your weekends are not your own, you're going to be on the phone all the time, you're going to be on emails, whatever your idea is about that identity is what you think you have to be to have it. So if that's wrong, if you've got a wrong idea about what that identity is, then you're going to either prevent yourself from doing it, AKA if you think, I like that, AKA PS, if you think that in order to be a rock star, you have to sell your soul, and that doesn't align with your value system, you're never going to become that. Why would you become something that goes against your ethics or morals, your values, your whole self, right? So you have to challenge the identity that's before you and say, but is that actually true? Do I have to do that in order to be that? Or can I be this? Maybe it's time to show how to be that without adopting that particular identity. Right? So you get to determine what is the truth. What is the truth of the identity of the thing that has it? So what I mean by is, of course, there's certain things that are an absolute you have to do. Because, for instance, if the person that you want to be in the future is someone that wins marathons, well, then I guess you're going to be somebody that's running, and you're going to run a lot. You can't be somebody that's sedentary. You just can't. Those things don't go together. They just don't. And that's a rule, right? Unfortunately, you can't dream yourself to be a marathon runner by sitting cross-legged on your couch doing kumbaya. It doesn't work that way. We have to embody, right? There has to be a physical component to it. And a lot of the reasons why we don't get what we're trying to get is because we don't have the nervous system capacity to hold what it is that we think that we have to have, because we've concocted some idea about it, and also because we're holding on to maybe trauma, maybe we're holding on to just like energies, we're holding on to toxins, whatever it is, and it's just our system needs to clear out those things, get clear with itself, get aligned. Maybe it's not aligned. That happens too, right? So the Capricorn moon is constructive devotion, right? Constructive devotion. Capricorn is the sign that brings to life the statement about how discipline is devotion to your highest frequency. Right? Who's the you that's supposed to be here, right? Who are you? Right? I used to wear masks all the time. Did a lot of people pleasing. Did a lot of stuff. I don't do those things anymore. So the Capricorn moon is the walker's moon. Okay. It holds the medicine of the earth walker. And it teaches us that mastery is not a lightning strike. What do you think? Capricorn is the goat, right? Which is funny when you think about the goat. I don't know if you've seen any videos about goats, but they are absolutely fascinating creatures. And like, they literally are the greatest of all time. They really are. I was like, where did the acronym go? It just went out of my head. A goat really is the greatest of all time. It's absolutely insane how they go up and down these mountainsides. It's just like, it's incredible. But they will climb and climb and climb and climb. And that's the energy of Capricorn, right? It's a path that is unfolding before you as you walk it. People will come along and they'll be like, where's the path? Where's my path? I'm trying to find my path. And it's like, the path is under your feet. The path is unfolding before you. The path is created in the choices that you make each day. If you get up every day and you make the same choices, the path is going to go in a circle around you, right? It's just, you're just going to be walking like this all day because you come back to the same point every morning. So then there's nothing changing. You can't change with the same, right? It doesn't work that way. So this is asking you, like, if the vision of the path that you're walking, if you keep walking this path, if it's not the future you, or the path, the vision, the purpose, the mission, why you think you came here, what you hope to create, what your desire is, if it's not leading you in that direction, why are you still walking it? That's a tough one, hey? Hi, Cosmo. Hi, guys. Make sure to be continuing to tap and like the live. Unfortunately, it's the way that TikTok is. It's a popularity contest. And if you're not liking me and you're watching me, they're going to be like, man, don't recommend anyone to that person. That's just the way they are. Okay, so we know we have to take the path, and that path is the embodied action rooted in integrity. So what have we been talking about recently about embodiment? We've been talking about how you have to get in alignment first, right? We don't fake it till we make it. We don't pretend. I don't pretend I can run a marathon and fake running a marathon before I align myself to that truth, right? Like, I have to do the pathway there. I don't jump there and then hope the pathway completes to me, right? We have to talk the talk and walk the walk, and we have to be in alignment. Alignment is what you're saying matching what you're doing. So if you're somebody like me, a long time ago, I used to talk all the time about how I got to stop eating sugar. 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 And I kept eating sugar. Walk the walk, talk the talk. At some point, you have to make the decision. Either I'm going to shut up about it and accept the fact that I'm just going to eat sugar, or I'm going to stop eating sugar. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to stand on what I'm saying. And that's what we have to do. You create the new earth by creating it. And because it's a physical earth, we have to embody it. We have to form it. We have to shape it. We have to make it. We have to bring it into form. We don't get these things by sitting cross-legged, going kumbaya and wishing it into existence. We don't create the truth by just acknowledging the lie. We have to embody it. We have to live the truth. Yep, absolutely. And you know when you're not. You know when you're not in dissonance. Like, you know. I know. And you have to be willing to call yourself out. And the stars align in these magical ways, giving us all these opportunities. So if you pay attention to the alignments celestially and you work with them, you'll get the growth that's intended for your soul as it's meant to happen without fighting it. Right? Hi, Jer. I put a golf club. I tied a golf club to the railing of the front deck, I guess, the deck. And I hung a bird feeder from it. You're welcome. You should come and check out my website and join one of my membership groups. I go into deeper stuff in those membership groups. I've been doing a little bit of extra lives and extra deep lives, mostly because I've been absent for a little bit, so I had to reestablish myself. But I am eventually going to go back to 2 lives per week because I feel like that is energetically enough of a presence, doing lives anyway, especially when I just can't help it. I have to bring a lot of information with each live, but I'm also posting lots and creating lots of other stuff too. So we have this beautiful walker's moon. Okay. And this is asking you, what am I ready to commit to? Okay. So what are you ready to commit to? You might want to write it down. Sometimes when we write it down, it makes it a little more of a commitment, right? Especially if you write it down and then you sign and date it. Ooh. Right? Pretty neat. What inner structure must rise to support the outer path? So what do you have to do? What do you have to agree with? What do you have to align with internally so that you can do what is happening externally? So some of us have a distorted concept around discipline, right? Which is why here I've been trying to get everyone under the knowledge, the knowledge that discipline is devotion to your highest path, your highest frequency, whatever you want to call it, right? So if your goal and the thing you want more than anything in life is to have that trophy from running a marathon, you want that just you just feel it aligns with you so much. You know, all your childhood you ran, maybe you ran until you had an injury and then you got that injury and you stopped running and you just never got back to it. Find out what that little thing is that's blocking it. There's something there. Is there fear that you're going to injure yourself again? Is that what it is? Right? What is the block? Right? Figure out what it is that's blocking it. Is it a distorted vision of what the identity is of the individual that has that you think? Right? Maybe you think you have to be go, 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 do, hustle, 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 grind, 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 and you don't want to live like that. I don't. And I think that was part of what used to block me, is that I had that idea in my mind that to, you know, have the company with the reach and with the clientele and with all of that I was going to have to be going all the time. So we have to create all day, all night, like every weekend. I couldn't take days off. Rest was not an option. And that's not fair. Right? What inner structure, so the inside, what inner structure must rise to support the outer path? Right? Like there's a lot of people that talk about reverse engineering, right? That you look at it, what is it that I want? Like, or who do I see myself as at my ideal, at my highest frequency? What does that look like? 444 in Ontario. What inner structure must rise to support the outer path? The outer path. So I lost my train of thought. Hi, Hillary. How are you? Okay. What inner structure must rise to support the outer path? Yes. Yes. And then the final question that Capricorn is asking is, what does embodied truth look like for me today? So what does embodied truth look like for me today? Hi, Reva. Not in theory, okay? Be very clear. This is not in theory, but in practice. Yep. Not in theory, but in practice. What does embodied truth look like for me today? So how does your day have to be structured? What actions do you have to be taking? Right? That's the embodied truth. What actions do you have to be taking to have what it is that you desire? Right. And we can have distorted views of that. So clear that up, get yourself aligned with the correct vision, right? And that could be that you're defining it, right? Like tomorrow is, I mean, it never comes. So, and now that the light has returned and the flame within has been reignited, because remember, we start really shortening our days tomorrow. What am I ready to be responsible for? Okay. What am I ready to be responsible for? Girls do just want to ha. I like the way it just ends there. Girls just want to ha. What are you ready to be responsible for? Absolutely. Because Capricorn says the time for excuses has ended. You have the map, now become the builder. So you're standing on the other side of the solstice gate. The new moon brought clarity, the solstice brought orientation, and now today is bringing that choice. So the sun in Sagittarius is still burning with vision. The moon in Capricorn is bringing the bones to walk it. Okay, so let your next steps be sacred. Let your structure reflect your soul. Let the way you build speak of who you truly are. And let the earth remember your name as the one who did not turn away from what was asked. We came here for a reason, right? You either believe it or you don't, right? And if you don't believe that you did, then what do you believe? I'm interested. I'm very curious. I would like to know. If you don't believe that you came here for a reason, why do you believe that you're here? Or do you think there is no reason? And how do you think that that affects the choices that you make? Curious? It all happens for a reason. All right, so from vision to structure to living the Christic way. So if you've been feeling this quiet seriousness kind of settling in over the last couple of days, you are not imagining it, okay? After the new moon and solstice, we are now in a phase where the truth wants to become structure. So today is not about inspiration, it is about embodiment. So this is the collective energy, right? This isn't just my energy. This isn't just me preaching to you or anything like that. This is the collective energy. This is the celestial energy, the energy of the alignment. So it's what's affecting all of us, right? It's trying to push us into embodiment because it's what we need. So solstice opens a doorway, but what most people are not taught is that the doorway means nothing if you don't walk through it. Right? Great if you identified something. Awesome if you learned something. Really, really cool. You found some new truth. What are you doing about it? Right? Right? What are you doing about it? So many people love activation moments. How many times? I know a long time ago I used to do that. I used to go and I would attend this thing or you would do this thing, but how many, honestly, how many times did you actually live what was activated, right? Like how many times did you go take a class and you actually applied what you learned in the class? How many times did you go and take, like, I don't know how many productivity things that they've given you. Come hang out with me tomorrow. I'll be on a little earlier tomorrow. Okay. So how, yeah, it's about living that activation, right? We go and we learn, we take a course, but we never apply the principles of the course. Or we, read a self-help book, but we don't actually apply the principles that we learned within the book. It's like reading a diet, but making no changes to what you're eating. Or, buying an exercise plan, but not actually doing it. How many times do we do those things? So embodiment is not a feeling. It is not motivation. It is not intensity. Love you. Thank you for showing up, Irene. Have a beautiful evening. It's how you choose your time, how you choose your energy, how you choose your relationships, how you choose your work. Thank you. Appreciate the gift. How you choose what you tolerate, how you choose what you no longer negotiate with, right? It's standing in integrity, being in alignment and choosing from that alignment, right? Because this is where most spiritual paths stop. And this is where Christic way begins. It begins with embodiment, right? We have to live it. So the Christic way is the path of coherence. It is living alignment across your body, your nervous system, your emotional field, through your mind, your energy, your action, right? It's congruence, it's alignment, it's all of that. So it's not about perfection, it's about integrity. So if you, as long as this alignment, right? So if I don't think that there is anything wrong with drinking oodles of caffeine, I drastically negate the effects of caffeine. Drastically negate them because of my belief system that it does no harm and the fact that I stay in a good mood while I'm drinking it. If I am warring with myself that I should stop drinking so much caffeine, it's so bad for you, and but I just love it, the taste of it, but I know it's bad for me and I shouldn't drink it. And if I'm warring like that, that chaos inside me is eating me up way worse. That inconsistency, that incongruence, that lack of integrity that you're sitting in is more disruptive to your system. So it's not about perfection, it's about integrity. And when integrity is present, life simplifies, right? Everything aligns when you just stand in your integrity. Do you go through phases where there's like a, big summer clear out, where it's like, okay, I'm standing in my integrity. The people that are around me right now are not aligned with that level of integrity. And now that I'm standing on things and, and I'm actually creating that boundary. Some people will move on. Some people won't want anything to do with you anymore. And you have to be comfortable with that shift, right? And just allow them to go, because what's in aligned for you is going to be so much better for you anyway, right? Try to hear that, Debbie. Yep. Yeah. You have to understand. Yeah, exactly. You can read something and not understand it, not understand it at all. But even understanding without application, it's just information. So sometimes people feel stuck after big moments, and there's a reason why. And I want to normalize something, right? After new moons and solstices and awakenings and breakthroughs, people often feel unsure what to do next. They're disconnected from the initial clarity. Maybe they're overwhelmed by responsibility. They could be tempted to slide back into old patterns. That doesn't mean that you failed, right? It just means you've reached the point where structure is required, because there's an element of actually embodying that needs to be done, or integration that has to occur. Hi, Ben. How are you? And hi, Mano. And hi, Chickadee. I don't know if any of you stayed, but hello to all of you. All right. So this is why the Bridge to Light exists. It's not to give you any more information. It's to help land the truth in your body and allow it to stay there. Phase 1 was about awareness. It was about clearing, and it was about orientation. But phase 2 is about embodiment and integration and living what you know. So one without the other creates imbalance. Together, they create coherence. Until I think I had it until Christmas at midnight, so the 25th at midnight. If you purchase Bridge to Light phase 2, you get phase 1 absolutely free. But anyway, if you're interested in any of the Bridge to Light stuff, do connect with me on my website with a free clarity call, because that would be the best way for you to get all of your questions answered and stuff like that. So this is the difference between spiritual insight and spiritual maturity. So here's a simple embodiment check that you can use this week, okay? So I want you to ask yourself, what truth did you touch on during the new moon or solstice? Where does your daily life already support this? So where are you in alignment? Where does it contradict it, even quietly contradict it? Right? Let's say, for instance, you think that in order to have the thing that you have, you have to look a certain way, right? And but you're not doing anything to get there. How are you going to get it? How is it going to change for you if that's what your belief is? Right? You have to either change your belief of what you think has to have it, or you have to become that. You have to do the steps, right? What is one small structural change that you can make to move towards that? So if you're somebody, like I said, this marathon runner, can you incorporate, start 1 kilometer every other day that you're adding to the length that you're running? Or I don't know, that might be unreasonable. Right? 1 kilometer additionally a week, that would still give you, 26 weeks before you're at, that's pretty short actually to be running a marathon, right? If you're increasing it by 1 kilometer per week. What choice today reflects who you are becoming? So where are you showing yourself that you're willing to take that on, you're willing to make those changes? Because embodiment doesn't require dramatic change. It requires accurate change, okay? Because it has to be in alignment. Give me a second. I have to take my sweater off because the sun's come around the bend a little bit. And it's getting warm in the room. Plus, then I get to show off Hugs for Homeless. A little product demonstration. No, my nonprofit that I own. So I want to be honest here though. Okay. Most people do not struggle because they lack desire or they lack intelligence. They struggle because embodiment, it oftentimes requires accountability, or it requires nervous system safety. It requires clarity mirrors. It requires energetic containment, or someone that can see the patterns that you cannot yet see, right? And that's the work that I do, okay? So it's not to say that you can't do it alone. It's just sometimes the reason why people struggle is because they do in fact need that support and they're not getting there without it. Right. So if you're one of those people, like if you feel that, and if you're feeling also called to live your truth more fully, a lot of times people come up and they show up in my stuff and they say they feel like they got called out. If you're okay with that, come hang out with me. So you can always go and join membership spaces where I go into information deeper. I talked about the Bridge to Light phase 2. And also there's the Bridge to Light phase 1 if you're not at the phase 2 level yet. Or you can continue to just hang out with me here and just hang out with me for free. It's all about alignment. That's all it is. It's never about urgency. If you're feeling urgency somewhere, you're operating from a space of lack. Okay. So this week with the Capricorn moon here, which it transits tomorrow, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. It's not about rushing. It's not about proving. It's not about forcing. It's just about living your truth. That's what it's always about, just living your truth. And that's the Christic way, is living your truth. Okay. So how are you doing, Xandrian? And hi, Justice Warrior. I don't know if either one of you were able to stay. And if you did. Okay. All right, we're going to talk about a couple other things because I want to. Because I want to. All right, so in true sidereal, we have the Sun in Sagittarius, which is joined there by Mars. What else is in Sagittarius? Venus is in Sagittarius. We have a couple in Sagittarius. The moon and Pluto are in Capricorn, and we've got that shift of energy that may feel heavy or it may feel like pressure, but that's not pressure or punishment. It's actually responsibility, because Capricorn does not ask what you believe. Capricorn asks, what are you willing to build now? Like Capricorn wants to build. Capricorn wants to create your legacy, your future. So in Christic teachings, devotion is not emotional, it's structural. Devotion shows up as consistency. So I'm trying to reframe devotion for you, and I'm trying to reframe discipline into that. And Capricorn, like I said, is devoted and is the disciplinarian, but is devoted to discipline, or is disciplined, which is devotion. There we go. That's better. So devotion shows up as consistency, as follow through, as choices that match your values, even when no one is watching. That's the person that isn't, sneaking a smoke behind the garage and then, cleaning themselves off and nipping into the house and saying they're a non-smoker. Right? That's not what integrity is, right? It's about always, whether someone's watching or not, you still are being that person. You're still consistently doing those things. You don't just show up because the cameras are on, because if you are, that's very performative and that's ego-based, and we're not doing that here. We're embodying the oversoul. That is bringing heaven to earth, is through embodying the oversoul. So Sagittarius reveals the truth. Capricorn asks you to live it. And this is where many of the spiritual paths fracture, because embodiment requires discipline, and discipline reveals what is real. And many of us have a lot of trauma around discipline. So you need to discern what's going on with that and work through it so that you can become devoted to what is in your best interest, for what you want, what you desire, what you put for your path, what you said was your mission or your purpose, or what the future that you see for yourself. Okay, so we're going to take a breath into our body. You can put one hand on your solar plexus, one on your heart. Okay, and just take a breath in and out. And you can take several more if that feels, if your brain feels very busy still. So where has truth already become clear for you? Is there something that came up recently with the new moon or solstice, some clarity that's now in your body, or some truth that's been revealed? So what structures need to change to support that truth? What habits, schedules, or commitments are no longer aligned? So notice what feels heavy in your body. Notice what also feels clarifying, because Capricorn pressures is not meant to crush you. Okay, it is meant to strengthen what is authentic. We also have Mercury in Ophiuchus, and this is all about purifying the mind. Mercury moves into Sagittarius on the 30th, just around 9 a.m. Mountain Time. So whatever time that is for you. So right now we still have Mercury in Ophiuchus, and the mind is undergoing that correction, right? This is about aligning with your integrity. So false narratives begin to dissolve, and spiritual bypassing becomes uncomfortable, and your clarity sharpens. So this is an excellent time to release beliefs that once felt inspiring, but no longer feel that they're honest, that they're aligned with you, right? Don't be afraid to pull back layer and cast away that identity, right? Oftentimes that's what catches us is there's a lot of different things, but when you get down to it, there's some different things. But one of the things that does is our unwillingness to let go of the identity we already have adopted, right? We believe that we are somebody so firmly. This is who I am, because you're not willing to put that identity down. You're not able to shed that layer to become who you're meant to become. Don't be afraid to let it go if it doesn't serve you anymore. Truth matures when it can be lived quietly without applause. Okay. So Anshara'El is not like the pathway of ascension. It's not about escaping the world. And that we're not meant to do that. Just like we're not here to kill our ego. It's not about ego death. It's just your ego is supposed to sit in the passenger seat, not drive the bus. And most of us let our ego drive. And our ego drives by looking in the rear view mirror to see what came from before to predict what he's going to be driving into. He's not even looking out the rear view mirror. He's actually looking out the back window, facing backwards. It's crazy. So it's not about escaping the world. It's about walking in coherence with it. So working with the earth, working with the living sky, and working with your body as the sacred instrument. This path deepens through structure, not fantasy. And today's sky supports that work powerfully, right? So if this teaching resonates, I invite you to stay close, because there are many entryways into the School of Light, from the Temple of Light to deeper initiatory pathways. There's soul alignment sessions. My books are there. There's memberships. There's classes and courses. There's lots of stuff. And you're always guided to a level that matches your readiness, your capacity, and your integrity. So may what was revealed at solstice be lived. May truth now become structure. And may devotion take form through action. Because discipline is devotion to your highest form. Highest frequency. Whichever you want to call it. And that's it. That's all I have for today. The rest of today, I'm going to be or not to be, right? There is no try. There is only do. Even Yoda had it, right? There is no try. There is only do. All right. Well, I love you guys. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. But I'm not going to stick around too long, because I do want to get my dog out for a walk before it gets dark. And I was a little bit late starting today, and that's on me, but that's okay. I'm going to set 2 days, like I said, set 2 days that have a firm start time. And those will be the days that you'll see me on, as opposed to seeing me like 5 days a week. Okay. But that's sometime in the new year. I'll be switching to that pattern. So you'll see me while you see me now, and then you'll see me on a scheduled no scheduled time. But I love you guys. Have a beautiful day. We'll talk to each other later.